So the co-founder of Cyberpunk 2077, or not Cyberpunk, but the co-founder of CD Projekt Red, released a statement regarding Cyberpunk 2077, and basically the statement is an apology to everything that was going on with the game, and this was a video statement. So I'll go ahead and I'll link the video for you guys to watch down below in the description. He urged people to not blame the people working the development team. He urged us not to be upset at them for the state that Cyberpunk released. That ultimately it was down to the founders basically the founders. It was their decision to release the game as it was. Now he did say that the PC version was the superior version, and they were very proud of the PC version of the game, but also the fact that the console version still needed to be worked on. Now, they did release a roadmap in this video detailing when the next patches were coming up, and he mentioned the free DLC that's coming up as well, and as well as the upgrades to next gen. Now, the free DLC, he said it is still coming in 2021, but they don't have a release date yet for it. Same thing with the upgrades to PS5 and Xbox Series X. They don't have a release date for those, but they said they are aiming for the second half of 2021, which I'm gonna call it right here. It's probably gonna be the last quarter of 2021, maybe even delayed to 2022 if they don't get things in line. The apology did seem very heartfelt. He kind of, you could kind of see it in his eyes and his voice that he's a little bit heartbroken by the state that this game has released. He genuinely seems very passionate about developing games and developing games or the way that they're meant to be. He stated that when they created CD Projekt Red, that they did so to deliver the best quality of games possible, and surely they didn't deliver with Cyberpunk. I did enjoy Cyberpunk for what it was. I played it on my PS5 using backwards compatibility, and for the most part, it played fine. But there were some crashes. There were a lot of bugs. The crashes would happen sporadically. It used to be one crash every hour and a half, and then after the latest update, which is 1.06, the crashes are just completely random. Sometimes they happen after 30 minutes. Sometimes they happen after 40 minutes. It was just bonkers. I have a lot of criticisms towards Cyberpunk for the type of game that it is. Not specifically just like even taking the crashes and the bugs out of context, or not out of context. I'm sorry, out of taking it out of the equation. You like there's still a lot in there to criticize as far as what type of game it is. Like it doesn't live up to what we as players thought it would be, with decision making in the game, with different factions. And I know that people have told me, is like, oh, but there are factions. No, when I say factions, I'm talking like Fallout New Vegas type of factions, where like you can side with one faction or another, and there's consequences for doing so, or benefits for doing so. But in this case, there are no factions like that in Cyberpunk 2077, and that's one of my criticisms for the game. There's a lot of things I can just tear it apart, and maybe I'll do a rant one day on this game. But overall, I had fun with the game. The important takeaway for this is that they legitimately, or the co-founder legitimately, he seems like he feels bad with the way that the game released, and he's vowing to make things better. Only time will tell on how things will actually progress. It's one of those situations where you can say everything that you want, but until we actually see the final delivered product, we can't take you for your word at this point. And if you do, that's okay. But I'm saying from like my perspective of things that like I can't take it from his word. He like at this point, actions speak louder than words. Fix the game, right? That should be the main focus. Fix the game, make it a stable game, make it playable on PS4, the base version, make it playable on Xbox One, the base version. Um, it's I wanted this game to be so much more than it actually is. I no, I you can see here I did not return my copy. I kept my copy so I could play through the entire game, and I don't regret keeping it because I know it will turn into a better version of what it currently is. But as of right now, I have no reason to go back to the game after I finished it. And until like there's I don't know, this game is just a little weird with things, man. Honestly, it really is. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just at the point where it's like he should have been better, man. We were expecting so much more from this game, and it just didn't deliver at all. And yeah, people will say that Witcher 3 wasn't perfect when it released either. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine, but that's not an excuse. That is not an excuse at all. Like, let's take, for example, Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us Part 2 released, it wasn't broken. It was completely playable, start to finish. There were a couple maybe glitches here and there, but glitches happened, but they weren't game breaking bugs, or they weren't immersion breaking bugs, except for Abby clipping through the floor one time on my live stream. But that's fine. That only happened one time. Like I was okay with the state that this game shipped in, or or let's say Spider-Man Miles Morales, right? Spider-Man Miles Morales, yeah, had a couple bugs too, but it wasn't, again, immersion breaking. Like, it was still an absolutely fun game, and that I've played through twice already, and I'm probably gonna go through a third playthrough of this game just because of how much I loved playing it. Like things like that, like Demon Souls. Is another example of a good game that released, and it was it works. Right, like it works. There's no bugs, there's nothing like that that's game breaking or immersion breaking. Like, it just works. Why? Like, that's what I don't understand these days, why games can't just release and they work. Like, I'm there's no excuse anymore. There really isn't. Games like Fallout, right? Like Fallout 4, for example. Fallout, well, actually, better example is Fallout 3. Fallout 3 released, and Fallout 3 had a ton of bugs, but you know what? The game still worked, right? Like, it just, you could still play the game all the way through. And yeah, there were a couple of bugs here and there. I remember having this weird grenade bug where I threw a grenade, and all of a sudden, like, a bunch of grenades just went off, like as if they were all attached to me. And I was like, what the hell was that? But it was something that happened once, and then that was it. Like, it never happened again, and like I could keep playing the game. Um, when a game releases and it's completely broken, you get to a point where you just become jaded towards these type of games. Open world games. At this point, we should figure out like some sort of formula for the games where they don't release and they're just unplayable. That's there's no excuse for it anymore. You need to, if you're going to be making a game with multiple console generations in mind, you need to be aware of the limitations of the weakest consoles, and they didn't take into consideration the lack of performance in a base model PS4 or the Xbox One S or Xbox One VCR. And yes, Xbox One VCR is a thing. But let me know what your thoughts in the comments down below in the comment section. Don't forget, I have a giveaway for a year membership of PlayStation Plus. Every month, I will be choosing a random comment from one random video, and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you know when the next videos and live streams release. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all real soon.